I work here at the Whereverton Public Library as Director of Strategy and Community Development. Our Board of Directors wanted a balanced scorecard. They didn't know exactly what one was, but they wanted one. I called the board chair to discuss what they actually wanted to measure and recorded it. But before we jump into that, let's talk a little bit about what a BSC is exactly. The Balanced Scorecard is a measurement tool for an organization to make sure they're working to accomplish their mission and stick to their strategy. But it can be a lot more than that. The BSC should stem from the strategy of the organization. Here at WPL, we've decided to focus our strategy on engaging the community. To accomplish our mission, all of our objectives and metrics should tie back to that issue. The BSC is a living document and should be useful in starting conversations about the organization and the direction we're going. But it can be used for more than just measurement. Now that we have a better idea of what a BSC is, and we know it should stem from our strategy, let's go back to my discussion with Betty. We're ready to discuss the measures and metrics, but first up, our mission.
Hello?
Hi Betty, it's B. I'm starting to work on the BSC you asked about, and I wanted to ask you, what do you consider WPL's mission to be?
Well, it's all about community. We're more than a library. We need to educate, connect people to each other, to opportunities, to WPL.
Okay, and what do you want to learn from the Balanced Scorecard?
Well, of course we need to measure everything. There's so much going on. Fewer people are checking out books, but we need to grab students early. We have free computer use, but are kids using them for educational purposes? Are programming dollars impacting the community? Book club is low cost, but do adults go to these programs?
Right, but ideally we use the BSC not just to measure, but to learn more about how our programs enable our strategy. So what about financial measures? What are the objectives?
We're always behind on overdue and lost book fees. I want numbers to prove that collecting this can help with the budget.
Are you in the debt collection business or the library business? Would it make more sense to look at staffing?
Yeah, we should be looking at something that relates to our mission.
We have a well thought out strategy here at WPL. To make a BSC that we can use and learn from, we need to start there to form our objectives. Before we talk about the cost of overdue and lost books, we need a financial objective that's aligned with the mission and draws from our strategy.
That makes sense, but I don't know what financial actions we can easily measure that fit with the strategic goals.
That's okay, we'll brainstorm. The data doesn't need to be perfect, and we'll adjust it as we review moving forward. Our strategy is to engage the community, and you're right, one of our biggest costs is staff. Should our objective be to increase volunteer hours in order to reduce staff hours?
Yeah, the objective could be to boost the number of volunteers, and the metric could be to measure the percentage of volunteer labor hours. This would reduce spending on paid staff hours. Does that sound good?
Yeah, let's move on to another objective. What about youth programs? How do we want to come up with some objectives and measures there?
I was going to say that maybe we count the number of youth-focused events or programs we offer, but now as we're talking, I think maybe we need something more strategic.
Like maybe the number of kids in our community that have a library card?
Yeah, I think that could be good. Better yet, we can make an objective to grow our youth community engagement and have percentage of elementary school population who has a library card be the metric.
That sounds great, and it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I see how we're starting to think about this a little differently. Measuring what we can, or measuring what's easy or obvious to measure, doesn't necessarily make a given metric a good one. What we measure needs to be really anchored to our impact.
I think this is a great start to our scorecard. Do you think you can sell it to the rest of the board?
It's definitely more fleshed out than we talked about at our last meeting.
We're going to have to devote some staff hours to implementing and understanding this, and I don't want to just send these numbers out every month or quarter and have them pile up in people's inboxes. I can help with making sure our staff understands how this serves our mission. Do you know how you're going to discuss it with the other board members?
I think so. It'll be nice to see the metrics over time. The board likes to see progress.
Yeah, of course, but we want them to learn from the numbers. Charts are great as long as we can take action after reviewing them. Here's our preliminary scorecard.
This is exactly what they wanted to see.
I'm glad we have this. I think it's a good visual and it'll make learning easier.
Right, we can quickly see what's working and what's not.
This was a great start. Let's set up a standing quarterly meeting to review our data and learning.
Definitely. How often should we be reviewing the measures?
Let's take a look every 6 months, and we'll make sure to get staff input too.
Great. Thank you for being a friend.